Hello everybody and welcome to another journaling video. Today I am working in both of my journals. I'll be working in my weekly Muji insert and my daily Midori insert. And I am going to be using supplies from Your Creative Studio. It is her train themed kit. I don't remember exactly what month this one is from, but I just got it. It's the most recent one that I've gotten, so maybe January or maybe February, I'm not sure. But I know in a couple previous videos, I had said that I would talk about sort of an update on my life and some of the things that have transpired since February to cause me to sort of take a step back from everything. And it basically all started when I was T-boned on the way to take my two youngest kids to school. The lady ran her stop sign and I did my best to avoid the accident, but it wasn't enough, I guess. It's kind of hard to avoid being T-boned. And while the accident wasn't like catastrophic, it wasn't like bad. My car did get a lot of damage and did need a lot of work to put it back together and fix it. But I think the biggest issue was dealing with her insurance company. She did not have a good or even decent insurance company, which made things a lot more difficult. And through the process of working with that insurance company to get my vehicle fixed and all that jazz, they declined to take 100% of the fault of the accident. They basically said that I didn't do a good enough job of avoiding the accident, even though in no state or any law or any country where you were allowed to drive, are you supposed to avoid someone running a stop sign. And as a result of that, I refused to be responsible for anything for this accident because it was not my fault and my two children were in the car, and what example does that set for them? So I had to hire an attorney to basically go to fight for me, and that's not fun to do. And while I was there, the day that I hired her, I actually had to fly over to my chiropractor to have my medical examination done because it was the 14th day after the accident, and in the state of Florida, you only have 14 days to claim injuries with your car accident to get taken care of. So I did. I went to my chiropractor. Luckily, they had x-rays on file from before the accident, and they were able to compare the before and after and determined that I did have substantial neck and back injuries that were basically caused by the accident. So I had to immediately go into very intense treatment in the chiropractic realm, which if you've done chiropractic care in a recovery sense, it's very painful. It's very intense. It's a lot of work, and relief does not come for a really long time. You get worse before you get better. And so I was physically in a lot of pain for a while, and I still am in a lot of pain, but I'm definitely on the uphill part of that recovery journey. But that's been really difficult to come to terms with. I had a lot of other things that don't really matter, but they just sort of tack on to the whole experience. I was screamed at by another parent one morning at drop-off, where she told me my child was a bully and that she had instructed her child to beat Cullen's A. And I was very confused in that moment because I had never heard of any issues. I'd never heard of her daughter, or heard of any issues coming from the school. So I had no idea what she was talking about, and she just was screaming and cussing at me at 7:30 in the morning. And it was very jarring. So I had to get the administration involved through the whole thing. Luckily there were witnesses, but also very traumatizing. Shortly after my birthday in March, my husband's uncle passed away, and it was not sudden. We knew it was coming. He was very sick, but it was still sort of shocking all the same. And I went over the day that he passed away and was there when hospice was prepping him to take him to the morgue, basically. So being exposed to an unalive family member was quite jarring. Again, a very traumatic event that really affected me because I knew this man for almost 20 years and it was very hard. My child was expelled from school. Well, not technically. The administration attempted to expel him from school for a weapon. And he did not bring a weapon to school. He brought a camping tool to school. He brought a spork to school. And that particular spork had a knife that was encased in it. He did not know that it had a blade or an edged situation when he took it to school. He had just been learning about being eco-friendly and not wasting plastic and not being wasteful, and found a spork and took it to school to be mindful not to waste the plastic sporks that they make them use in school. And another kid was like, hey, wait a minute, I have one of those. Look here, this is what it does. And unsheathed it and saw there was a bladed edge. And once the adults in the cafeteria saw that, that was all there was to it. After a long and arduous battle with the administration and the school board, we actually got the whole thing dropped because a eating utensil is not considered a weapon in the state of Florida or in the public school system that we are assigned to. But we opted to voluntarily withdraw him because, there goes my head. We didn't feel comfortable with him being at school anymore after the entire event, especially since most of the administration was out to get him. Thankfully, we did have an incredible vice principal that fought for him and advocated for him and basically made the entire thing disappear. Nothing is going to end up on his record. But he was questioned by the police, which was very traumatizing for him. He's very apprehensive about going back to school because he doesn't want to be seen as a hoodlum or a criminal or anything like that. So we've had a lot of emotional trauma assigned with him lately that we've had to go to therapy for. I'm also going to therapy with both of them. Both of my older boys are in very intense emotional therapy. To sort of help regulate their emotional transitions with their ages. My car was broken into and my wallet and everything was stolen. And I did not know that the car was even broken into. It was actually the rental because my car was in the collision center. So the rental was broken into and I had accidentally left my purse in the car because the night before had been unloading all of the kids' Easter baskets that were at my mother-in-law's house. And while I was carrying all that in, I forgot to go back out and get my purse. And that happened to be the night that this guy broke into the car and took everything. So that was really fun. I found out from a random call from a Parks and Rec employee who found one of my debit cards in a random park 2 towns away. And when I went to go collect it from the park office, I realized it was my brand new debit card and looked in my wallet and realized that everything was empty, like nothing was in it. So that was really nice. So I had to go through all the rigmarole of that. And in that process, after calling the bank and having all my cards and everything turned off, I found out that my car, the one that had been in an accident, was in active repossession. And we got a call from what we thought was just the bank, and it ended up being from the repossession service asking us where the vehicle was. And turned out back in December, for some reason or another, our auto pays were canceled or turned off or something. So no payment had been made from like the middle to the end of December, which is very surprising to us because we keep track of our finances pretty well. But my husband did start a new job and he did get a significant raise. So I guess I don't know what happened. We didn't notice it. So we had to come up with like $2,500 overnight to end that, which thankfully we were able to get that sorted. And then once we got our tax return, like 7 or 8 days later, we just went ahead and paid the car off because we only owed like $3,000 or something left on the vehicle. So we just went ahead and paid it off after that. But I mean, when you put it all together, you have a vehicle accident with 2 small children, my 3 and my 4-year-old. I was verbally assaulted by a stranger and my child's life was put at or threatened basically. I had to go through painful chiropractic rehab. I had to hire a lawyer and initiate a lawsuit against the other insurance company. We had a death in the family with traumatic exposure to a dead person. My child was removed from his school against his will and exposed to something he never should have been exposed to. Both of my boys are in really intense and semi-painful emotional therapy. Emmett broke one of his front teeth internally, so it's just a matter of time before he takes another hit and his adult front tooth just shatters right out of his face. We had our car broken into, and we did end up having our water turned off because, again, another auto pay was canceled. I don't know what happened, but it was the same thing. Luckily, we have changed all of that information around, so we don't have to worry about that. But auto pays, man, they're supposed to be helpful, and man, they really screwed us. So we were really looking like chumps there for a couple of months, which is not us. We are usually very on top of things and all the things, but man, February 15th just put a full stop on everything normal and acceptable in our lives. So I'm sorry that the video is not sped up. I did not edit this really at all. I didn't speed anything up. I didn't cut anything ridiculous out. So this is just real-time journaling with me. But I wanted to have enough time to be able to talk about everything that has been going on in my life and why I have needed to take a step back, to sort of explain why things have sort of felt different with my content lately. I just was in a really, 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 really bad place. All of this stuff fell onto me. My husband was not a part of any of that. Just because he's working during the day and all of this stuff sort of takes place during the day, and it's kind of my responsibility to pick up the pieces of all that stuff. So the brunt of all of that was really on me. It's been the reason why I have not been able to get back into letter writing, why filming has been so irregular. I haven't been doing as much creative crafting content, and basically just why I've been a terrible person. I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys can understand why things have been weird with me lately. I hope it makes sense now. Probably oversharing on a lot of these things, but that's the point. That's why I come here and why we're all here together. So I hope that you have enjoyed this and the close-ups of the layouts that I did today. If you have any questions, please feel free, as always, to leave them down below. I'll leave everything you need to find your creative studio, but I cannot guarantee that this particular box is still available. But until next time, friends, thank you so much for hanging out. Bye!